So how do we do this? How do we neighbor people that are different than us? Here's the first thing we do. We recognize our own prejudices. We recognize the possibility that we might have some prejudices. Because see, some of us are like, no, dude, I'm enlightened man, 21st century. I don't have any of that going on. And I give you props for that if that's true. Maybe that is true of you. But here's the danger, is you're gonna be like, hey, just because I accept certain other races, it doesn't mean you don't have prejudice in your heart somewhere. It doesn't mean there's not entire categories of people who are like, I can't deal with those people that are part of that Democratic or Republican Party. You just made a whole bunch of decisions about someone you do not know. You did not listen to them. You did not touch them. You did not hear their heart. You just, boom, that's the category they're in. See, do you see how this can be accidental? Like you didn't even mean to be prejudiced. You just were. That's the disease of sin at work inside of us. Prejudice, it's prejudging. It just means, hey, I've got an opinion that is not based on reason or any actual experience. This is just where I am on it. Yeah, that's something Jesus died to deliver us from. And especially the people of God need to be extra careful to remove it from our hearts when we find it. So I put on social media this past week, I just wanted to hear from some people. Hey, tell me about your accidental racism. Tell me about times that you ran into racism and maybe they didn't mean to, but it just happened. Okay, and I was really sad to hear some of the stories. And I think that they would say the person who manifested this prejudice or manifested this racism, they would say, well, I didn't mean to walk in racism. I assumed you weren't qualified because of your race. Or I didn't mean to walk in racism. I assumed you didn't have insurance. I didn't mean to be racist. It's just when I hadn't seen your face and I just heard your name, I assumed you were this race, but now that I know you're this race, I don't date folks of that race. I didn't mean to walk in racism, but see, we didn't put you on the team because I don't know, man, like I didn't think white people did this sport well. So, sorry. I didn't mean to be racist, but I figured if we were doing this play at the school, maybe because of your culture, you wouldn't be interested in that kind of thing. Yeah, that was prejudice right there. Do you see how in each one of those cases, maybe they didn't mean to, but it still was a prejudgment. They looked at an individual that said, well, because you're part of that group, I'm categorizing you with my script about what that group does and doesn't like to do. It's evil. It's sin. Here's the reality, my friends. Can we own this? Anytime you begin a sentence with, I'm not racist, but, dude, that means you're racist. People that aren't racist never say things like that. They never feel like they need to. And hey, listen, we're all sons of Adam and daughters of Eve. Hey, we all have the disease of sin. What we need to do is have the courage and the boldness to ask the Spirit of God's help to look and say, are there places that I am pre-categorizing people that are unfair? I think if we were really honest, we would be able to say, in my house, when I grew up, there were just certain things that were said that maybe shaped how I thought about certain groups of people. Right? Like in my family, we just understood, maybe this was you, maybe you were like, hey, people that are rich, they're just greedy. That's just what they are. You're never gonna find a rich person that's not greedy. Or maybe in your house it was, hey, if you see someone who's overweight, it's because they're lazy. That's why. That's what happens. And that was just your presupposition that you were given about life. Maybe for you it was, hey man, maybe you're a little younger and like, here's what I know about millennials. Millennials, I've just heard it from other people, is they lack responsibility. They just don't care about anything. They're just not going to do anything about anything. Maybe for you, you heard, hey man, I know the reason that some preachers shave their head is because they're just always so handsome, they want to give other guys a chance. And that sounds true. It's just not true. It's not always true. Can we do it? Can we do this? Can we admit? Some of y'all are going to get that at lunch. You're going to be like, oh. Hey, can we do this? Can we admit, hey, maybe, even if I'm not aware of any like racist or prejudiced tendencies in my heart, it's possible that there's groups of people, even if it's not a skin color thing, there's groups of people that I'm making assumptions about, that if the Spirit of God would tune me into it, I might be alarmed to find that out. Maybe it's really not about skin color. Maybe it's more about like, I wish people had my same kinds of opinions. I wish people were articulate like me. I wish people kept a clean house like me. Like, I can't stand those people that do that. Or I don't know why people would leave their car in that kind of a way. I don't understand why people let their lawn go like that. Whatever it is, it's an assumption about people that is keeping us from drawing near and keeping us isolated. So what do? We recognize, number one, our own prejudices. And then we do this. We love those who are different than us first, intentionally, proactively. We love them first. See, neighbor love, dude, it's not just neutral. Can we get that? It's not just like, I don't wish you harm, therefore I'm loving you. That's not the same thing, okay? It's not just, hey man, I think that dude's like, I don't know what's up with him, but I hope he gets better. I hope he doesn't bleed to death there on the road. So, hey, I think I'm being a good person right now. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't what a Jesus follower does if you're a follower of Jesus. It's active. That's the kind of Bible love. That's the kind of neighbor love that Jesus is talking about here. Racism, if you're taking notes, you can write this one down too. Racism isn't just the presence of hatred. It's the absence of love. Racism isn't just the presence of hatred. It's the absence of love. It's anytime we don't go first. It's anytime we're not trying to include somebody. It's anytime, it's not us just saying, hey, I don't hate you. Oh, well, congratulations, you don't hate somebody. That's not our job, though. Jesus is talking about being a good neighbor. He's saying the good neighbor goes first. Neighbors go first. That means we reach out first. That means we say, I want you here first. That means I'm not just satisfied for you to be out there somewhere. I prefer you with me. I prefer us together. I prefer to learn from you. I prefer to touch you. I prefer to welcome you in. I prefer us to be a part of the same thing. I prefer to us all be in unity. I prefer you. I'd rather you were part of my picture than not a part of my picture. And I'm willing to do stuff, actual stuff, not just have thoughts or feelings. I'm desiring to do stuff to demonstrate we are one. Can I shoot straight with you? As your pastor. And you gotta know, man, I love my church. I love my church. I love who's here. I love who goes here. I love it. Here's one thing that I would shift a little bit if I could, okay? And I'm praying I can. I wish it wasn't quite so white around here. Can I say that, okay? Like for real, man. Like, and here's why. It's not because there's anything wrong with the white people here, okay? It's just that as I look at Revelation 7, as I look at how John has this vision of heaven and all the people that are there, every tribe and tongue and nation and language. We're gonna look at that in just a second. As I look at that, I just feel weird that we're underrepresenting the entire body of Christ. And I know representation isn't everything. And I know we live in a specific population, but I think Grays Lake is kind of small. And I really just wish we had more African-American leadership in this church. Wish we had more Asian-American leadership in this church. I wish we had more Indian-American leadership in this church. Why? Because I want to represent to the world what the kingdom of heaven is like. Like, that's who's there, man. It's not all white. Like, it's a myriad of color, and it's celebrated by the Father. And there's so much that we have to learn from other cultures. There's so much more that we could all bring to the table. That's what I wish was true.